Avengers! Assemble. Welcome back to the channel. It's the Pre-Adventures here, guys, and welcome back to another Marvel Future Fight video. Today we got ourselves the Tier 3 guide tier list for you here. So if you didn't know, today is day number 3 of the check-in event for the anniversary. So we're getting a Tier 2 selector. Basically with that one, just select someone you don't have at Tier 2 that could be useful for your roster. And if not, spend it on someone you already have at Tier 2 to get biometrics if you can't spend it on anyone that's 6 stars, but you should be able to. Anyways, we're on day number 3, which means that we only have 3 more logins until we get the Tier 3 selector. So I wanted to make this video to help you guys decide who to get at Tier 3 from this selector, because the uniform sale will also be coming out during that time as well. So keep that all in mind here. I'm going to lower the music a little bit. Not sure if that changes it for you guys, but here we go. So the options from this Tier 3 list, which or Tier 3 selector, sorry, which comes out the 25th, are as follows. We got Black Bolt, Storm, Taskmaster, Cyclops, Hela, War Machine, Black Panther, Winter Soldier, Vision, Ghost Panther, Daredevil. This is a long list. Loki, Captain Marvel, Rogue, Shang-Chi, Falcon, Black Widow, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, Sharon Rogers, Venom, and Thor. So this is a total of 25 characters. There are 2 that are repeated here, which is Black Bolt and Storm, because I want to show you where they land on this list with their newest uniforms and their old uniforms if you weren't able to pick them up. So basically, Storm and Black Bolt are 2 of the odd ones out. They had seasonal uniforms, so if you didn't pick them up and you had the old uniforms, they're going to land somewhere differently on this list. But if you did pick them up, they also land differently on this list. So let's get straight on into this. So we have support / lead, which is self-explanatory. We have outdated, future value, which basically is any MCU project that's coming up that we know of that they will be getting a uniform for. We got good, very good, and the best. So let's get straight onto this list. First of all, we'll go easy here with the support / lead. Taskmaster being the best support character on this list. If you don't have him and you're looking for support, he is definitely the best option for almost any of your characters. He'll put in the work for you. Next, we got Cyclops. He has a really good lead. You can use it in World Boss Legend mainly and GBR. It's one of the best leads, honestly, for free-to-play characters, and he's not a bad option either. Then we got Hela, which is really good for PvP. She's also actually solid in PvP. She might be able to take out a couple characters, but overall, she's just a support. Then we have War Machine, who is a really good support, but he's more targeted to only machines. So mainly Iron Man. If you're looking for to juice your Iron Man even more, then War Machine's the way to go. Then we have outdated. For outdated, we're immediately starting with Ghost Rider. Unfortunately, he's just not what he used to be. He needs a heal, and his damage definitely needs to get increased. If he gets to Tier 4, he'll be skyrocketing on this list, but for now, he's in outdated. Along with Vision, who we could see in an MCU project very soon, and Winter Soldier, but we don't have anything guaranteed for this year or next year with them coming out in it. I guess you could say, actually, towards the end of next year, Winter Soldier will be getting that movie that he's in. I can't think of what it's called. It'll come to me eventually, though. But I guess you could see some value there. And we know Vision's going to come back at some point. We just don't know when. And then, unfortunately, probably the worst character you could select out of this Tier 3 selector is Black Panther. We were hoping to get something for him in the Black Panther 2 update, and we did not, so he unfortunately stays at the bottom of this list. Just to be clear, before we get any further, this isn't a list for Tier 4, so I'm talking straight just level 80. I don't have all these characters at Tier 4, so I can't give you my opinion on that, but this is, if you're going to get them to level 80, then this is, in my opinion, how the list would shake out. Obviously, there's Tier 3. You could just keep them at 70, but if you're getting these characters and you want the maximum value, you're going to take them all the way to at least level 80. But we're not going to account for tier 4, just to be clear. The other thing is that this list has not changed from the last time we got a tier 3 selector. I can't remember when that was. It might have been during Christmas time, but the list hasn't been changed at all. So hopefully they add more characters. 25 characters is a lot, but we could be getting a whole lot more as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed in the future, we do see that change. Now we get into the future value. So these are characters we know are getting upgrades. And first off the bat is Captain Marvel. She gets the Marvels movies in November of this year. So we still got a little ways to go, but she definitely will get a uniform. She has a new costume that she's wearing in the trailer. So we'll definitely can see a tier 4 upgrade for her. So if you already have all these other characters on the list and you're just kind of looking to put in some future investments, then Captain Marvel's a great one. Then secondly, which is might be even better pick, but I'm keeping Captain Marvel up there first, just because she's definitely confirmed in November. We got Loki, who could be getting will be getting his season 2 before the end of the year. We just don't know exactly when, but he does get his another season for his show. So he should be getting a brand new uniform. So that's a pretty good investment as well. And then we're looking really until next year, Daredevil. His show is supposed to come out at the beginning of the year. So that could be a very long-term investment. And then if you're going Bucky or Vision, those could debatably be in this list as well. But that's looking way down the line. I didn't want to go any further than Daredevil because that's already pretty far down the line. Then we get into the good section. So these are characters that don't go to level 80 and just don't have that punch that they used to, but they still can be pretty decent considering the meta nowadays. Falcon's still a pretty decent speed character. Shang-Chi has stayed at decent combat, even though the combat classes run heavily by level 80s. And then Rogue is still a decent mutant. But yeah, I wouldn't invest in these guys if you don't already have all the rest of these other characters that we're about to put up. But if you do, and you're just looking to fill in some spots on your roster, these are 3 amazing selections. Then we get into the very good category. And we got 2 for this category. We got Spider-Man and Black Widow. Spider-Man is a kind of balance between PvP and PvE, but he just doesn't stand out in either game mode. He is pretty good, actually, in timeline, but he's just really squishy, basically. He doesn't have any survivability at all. His 4th skill and his 2nd skill can one-tap anyone, but he's just not reliable. And then Black Widow's kind of the same thing. She has no value in timeline, but she is also very squishy, and she can die in World Boss Legend very easily, making her not reliable either. So that's basically why these 2 are on this part of the list and not in the best category, where the rest of these characters are, is because they aren't very reliable. They have big flaws in survivability, and if you can't survive, if you can't rely on them to survive, how can you do enough damage? But they're still really good. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, Spider-Man's great for timeline, and Black Widow is still a great speed level 80. Then we get into the best list, and we're starting off here at the very end is Ant-Man. He's great for PvE, but nothing much else out of that. ABX, ABL doesn't have a lot of value. It's mainly just World Boss Legend, but he still is a beast in World Boss Legend, so we had to put him in the best category. Then next up, we have Captain America, who is kind of like a better version of Spider-Man, except leaning more on the PvE side. He's great for World Boss Legend. He's decent for GBR, and he has a little bit of value in PvP, believe it or not. Not as much as Spider-Man, but he's still a better balance than Spider-Man is. And then next up, we got Storm. She's really good high DPS damage, but her survivability is a little rough. The only reason why she's not in the very good category is because they did up her movement speed, and like I said, her DPS is insane, way better than Black Widow, so she has to be up here. Next up, we got Hulk, who is probably the best PvP character on this list. So if you're looking for someone for timeline, Hulk's going to be your best option on this list, followed by Spider-Man. And then from there, there's not much other PvP value other than Hela on this list. Unfortunately, it's all PvE centric. But yeah, we all know how Hulk does in PvP. 4 skill, 1 taps anyone, so he's a great option. Then Iron Man is in front of him. Personally, I'm a big Iron Man fan, so seeing him not at the top of the list kind of hurts nowadays. But it's mainly because his survivability can be a little iffy. At tier 4, that problem is solved, but we're talking straight just level 80. He has great damage, but he can struggle a little bit to stay alive sometimes. He can't fully tank everything, but that heal on his 4 skill does get him through it and still put him at the top of this list. Next up, we got Sharon Rogers. This is her old uniform. I couldn't find a tier list with her brand new uniform, but I am going to put her above Iron Man already because her DPS is way better, and she does have a little bit more survivability at level 80 than him, in my personal opinion. It might actually be pretty even. Yeah, I'm going to go with it's even for now. Like I said, this is still an early prediction because she's only been out for like 4 days, so there's still more testing to be done. But right now, she just has such high DPS. She's one of the highest DPS characters in the game, that she had to be at the top of this list. Then we got Venom, just because I don't want to put all these other characters, I don't want to put Sharon in front of just yet, but she could very well be in front of these guys. But Venom is just one of the best level 80 characters you can have. Next up on the list is Thor, which he might be the only big must-have on this list. If you don't have Thor, then basically what are you doing? You need to have him to be able to get through your auto farm game modes like story mode, like Dimension Rift, all those great game modes. He is the dispatch as well. He's one of the best farmers in the game. The only other person that even gets close with him is Black Bolt and Professor X, but otherwise he's the best free and most free to play of them characters for farming, and not to mention he has really good value in PvE and GBR as well. So that's why he's rounded up at second on this list. Then at the number 1 spot, which I think everyone knew already, was Black Bolt. He has the highest DPS character in the game behind Jean, and maybe Sharon Rogers is competing for that. We'll have to wait and see. But he is the best DPS character in the game with this uniform, of course. He's great for GBR, insane for PvE, and like I said, he can be a good auto farmer as well, just like Thor. So that's why he ends up at the number 1 spot on the Tier 3 Selector guide. But then if you want to consider the fact that you don't have, let's say, Black Bolt's new uniform and Storm's new uniform because they're seasonal and you missed out on it, then this is basically what the list shakes out to be. Storm slightly edging out Black Bolt, and Black Bolt being the worst on this list. And I'd actually probably even drag them down here to very good because level 80 still gives them a good damage bump. But they're not better than Black Widow and Spider-Man. I almost forgot. But yeah, this is what the list would look like if you don't have their uniforms. If you do have their uniforms, then this is basically what the list shakes out to be here. For the Tier 3 guide Selector, and I can't place them back down, whatever. But yeah, that's how the list shakes up. Let me know your thoughts below. Ask me any questions that you want. I hope this gave you a better idea on who to select with your Tier 3 Selector. I personally, just FYI, will be taking War Machine because I want some support from my boy Iron Man in GBR. Like I said, this is not anything to do with Tier 4. This is all just Tier 3 and level 80 purely. Nothing more than that. I can't really give you that type of list until I get all these characters to Tier 4, and that's still going to be a while. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Hope it helped, like I said. And good luck with your selections. Have fun with it. The uniform sale should come out on the day that we get the Selector as well. So consider that you will need their uniforms. You need their latest uniforms for all of these characters if you're going to select them. Other than future value and outdated, you need to buy their latest uniforms for them to be good. Outdated, like I said, there's no helping them. Don't spend your crystals on that. Future value, you want to save crystals for when they get those new upgrades and uniforms. But that'll do it for the list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, guys. And we'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys.